We didn't have running water. We don't have electricity. That's kind of my childhood. Grit, resilience, motivation, being accountable for what you do in life, and being also accountable for your own incompetence. That's really my values.
Your success and growth all start in your mind. So get ready for another mind shift. Hello and welcome to Mind Shift. If you're just discovering me, my name is Joshua Kangley, and this show is all about motivation, positivity, inspiration, providing you tools and resources, and shining a light on people out there right now doing amazing things with their gifts and their talents. So stay tuned because we have another guest on this show coming up just shortly. Before we get there, though, to our next guest, who's amazing, by the way, I want to just say thank you for tuning in with me over the years. Remember, this all started with the podcast, Table Talks. It's morphed into this wonderful show, Mind Shift. And I just can't say thank you enough. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you haven't yet, please subscribe. Also, if you like the content, please give me a like. And if you want to be reminded of when a new Mind Shift episode does drop, turn on notifications. That way we can remind you, hey, we have another show coming up. So that way you don't miss a single one. Now remember, you can go to www.hellomynameisjosh.com. That's hellomynameisjosh.com. And there you can learn more about me, the books behind me there, and the show, and so much more. Also, if you have any questions for me or the show, any guest on the show, or if you know someone who should be on the show, email me, josh@hellomynameisjosh.com. Again, if you're listening to the audio version, tune in Thursdays on YouTube because 6 p.m. Central, Thursdays, I go live and I get a chance to interact with you, answer questions, and engage with you. I have a lot of fun. So that's Thursdays at 6 p.m. Central. Tune into the live, engage with me there. It's so fun. And then, of course, Tuesdays, 6 p.m. Central, every week, we drop a new Mind Shift. New episode, new guest, and a new Mind Shift. So stay tuned for those. So many wonderful guests, guys, we've had so far, and so many on the way. Also, speaking of the audio version, I just got my audio version onto Amazon Music Audible. So if you are on Amazon Music, you can listen to my podcast there as well. You can listen to my podcast anywhere you like to listen to your podcast. So if you're on the go, the podcast version is a great way to tune into the episodes. And then, of course, tune in here on YouTube where you can watch the episodes and engage with me live. Have a lot of fun doing it. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. Let's get to this next guest, shall we? Dennis Relojo-Howell is on the show today. He has his own show, by the way, the DRH Show. He's also the founder of Psychreg and author of Let's Talk About Behavior. He's also an international speaker. This guy's amazing. His intellect and his insight really inspire me and impress me. And you'll see why when we get to his conversation just shortly. You know, mental health isn't something we talk too much about, but this is kind of where Dennis' specialty lies. And we're going to kind of dig in a little bit and talk more about what's going on in mental health and what he's doing. He's got some great things coming up. So let's get to his conversation right now. Here is Dennis Relojo-Howell. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Josh. And it's nice to be on the other side of the table. Some of your viewers or some of your listeners might probably be aware of a few months ago, you were on the DRH show. And it was an interesting conversation, getting to know you, what you do. So I'll be doing the same thing today. Thank you.
Yes, it's going to be interesting. And I want to say thank you, too, for allowing me the honor to be on your show. You know, you have a really great show, and I've enjoyed listening to your episodes because it's very informational, and you can get a lot of good stuff out of there. So I really appreciate what you're doing at your show and just for me being on your show. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So as you know, Dennis, everyone has a story. You've talked to many, many people throughout your journey on your show and even motivational speaking internationally. Tell us a little bit about your story. So if you can kind of introduce yourself to us today.
Okay. So I'm originally from the Philippines, and I always don't when this part comes out when I tell about my childhood, I don't mean it like to elicit pity or compassion or empathy, but it's just part of my childhood. I grew up in the slum in the Philippines. It's not really a big deal for me, but um, when I was growing up, we didn't have running water because it's a slum in a third world country. That's where I grew up. We didn't have running water. We don't have electricity. That's kind of my childhood. But my parents, they told me that if you're not happy with this, education is the best way to get out of this place. And I always have that in my mind growing up. So I really strive to go to university. And then later on, I ended up being a university lecturer in the Philippines. And then in 2013, I came here in the UK. I'm here in the UK now to do a master's degree. And eventually I found my niche of creating a psychology website, and that's what Psychreg is. So that's kind of like a quick summary of my life. Yeah.
And thank you so much for sharing that. You know, that's interesting because that kind of something that came up in our conversation when I was on your show is, you know, how do you overcome challenges? For some, it's much harder. And so you were able to, like you said, third world country, a slum in a third world country, to
Mhm.
how do you think you are able to, is it education? You mentioned education. Is it education? Is it drive?
Yeah, and I think it's got to do with my parents. That they really the force behind my back, and they always motivate me, and they really did an excellent job because they've never been to university themselves, but all three of us, the children, we have master's degrees, and
Wow.
they really force us. So they really did a good job of raising all of us, and also I think it's also the concept of resilience, and so this is something which is really close to an area in psychology which is really close to my heart, because part of it has got something to do with live experience, and part of it is of course fascination with what you can really achieve if you're motivated.
Hmm.
It's also kind of tied to what, I don't know if you know Angela Duckworth. She's a TED speaker, and she's a psychologist, and she's known for grit. And that message, grit, resilience, motivation, being accountable for what you do in life, and being also accountable for your own incompetence, that's really my values.
Yeah, and you're a testament to that. And just, you know, it's amazing to be talking with you again. And thank you again for sharing that story. Now, so let's talk about Psychreg. You know, you're an advocate of the psychological benefits of blogging. Is this kind of how you started? You know, you've been dubbed the world's first blog psychologist. So tell us about Psychreg and how that started and how that came about.
Mhm. I think the best way to answer that question is to give you a quick rundown of my interest for writing, because I was born in the 80s, so when I was growing up, there was no internet. I was an introvert growing up, but I've always found a fascination of processing my thoughts through journal, through diary, and in fact, my childhood diaries, I still have them until now. I started journaling when I was 9, and then when I was at university. That was like I went to university in 1999. I went to university in 1999. There was no WordPress at that time, but I think there was already like some websites like Blogspot. And so that kind of, introduced me to the beauty of blogging. And so when I launched my blog at that time, it was just as kind of like a space for me to express myself most of the times it was just all about politics, because I was quite political when I was on my 20s. I think everyone during their 20s were quite political. Anyway, and then later on, I changed my blog into a travel blog, because also when I was in my 20s, I was quite a solo traveler. I've been traveling in Southeast Asian countries on my own. And then later on, when I started doing my master's degree, I tried to, look for a link between blogging and psychology. And so that's where Psychreg was born. Initially, when Psychreg was launched, it was just basically a registry. That's the reason for the name, psychology registry. It's more like, like asking people, would you like me to publish a bio, like a 500 or 300 word bio? And then after that, someone told me that, they're really happy that the bio is published online, but they also want to publish an article. So that gave me the idea of why I don't publish people's articles. So yeah, eventually that became Psychreg. And then later on, I expanded the platform to include a podcast and an open access journal. And of course, organizing mental health events and conferences.
That's great. You mentioned that you were an introvert, and I can relate to that because I was too. Growing up in the 80s, same thing. And so was that beneficial to your mental health? Was that a way for you to get thoughts out on paper and because it helped me. So I'm just curious for you.
Yeah, it is really beneficial to me, because, writing is not really there to judge you, especially personal writing. It's just there as an outlet for you to process what happened and what were you thinking during that day. And from a psychological standpoint, I just want to introduce you to the concept of expressive writing. This is the idea proposed by a psychologist called James Pennebaker. He introduced this idea during the 1980s, and he said those people who actually express themselves in writing, even if they encountered traumatic events, it allows them to recover. It allows them to make sense of those, bad things that happened in their life. And I suppose that's what I've been experiencing, keeping a journal or running a blog.
Absolutely. And I can kind of speak to that too, because that helped me a lot, kind of get my thoughts out and then deal with those because they were kind of out of my head and onto paper. And I could kind of sort through that and process that. So yeah, I mean, that's super important. How I know you talk about mental health. It's very important to you. I'm curious to know if there's any difference, or maybe there isn't, the approach to mental health, like UK, how that compares to the US. Do you know if there's any difference or how the approach is different?
I wouldn't say I've never been to America, by the way, but based from what I see, and I have lots of friends in America, and I wouldn't say there's really a massive difference. What I like about Western countries, and when I say Western countries, UK and US, is that you have an open discussion about mental health, and that's something that I haven't seen in Asian countries that I've lived. Also, with men's mental health, there's really a difference between Western countries and Asian countries, because even now, it's already 2020. There's still an element of machismo in Asian countries, especially Southeast Asian countries, and that kind of already diminished in Western countries. But even though you can still see a lot of men struggling with their mental health, but by and large, just to go back to your question, you pretty much like open about on talking about mental health. We haven't reached to the point where we're treating mental health like physical health. There's still a bit of a stigma.
Yes.
That's the reason why I actively campaign about mental health through my blog and through the events that I host. And I do want to be I don't want to sound like too advertorial, but if I could just mention about an event that I'm organizing
Absolutely. Yes.
on the day before World Mental Health Day. I'm co-organizing an event called Good Mental Health Festival. So basically, it's a celebration of the positive aspects of mental health, and we have a number of incredible speakers. So just Google it, and it will take you to the webpage.
Very good. When is that coming up?
It's on the 9th of October, so that's from 10 in the morning until 4 or 5 in the afternoon. And we have incredible speakers. We have Bruce Daisley, sorry, who used to be the vice president of Twitter in Europe. So
Oh, okay.
he'll be talking about the effect of social media in relation to mental health. And we also have the singer-songwriter JP Cooper.
Okay.
So he'll be involved in talking about mental health within the creative industries. We have lots of incredible speakers. So I encourage you and your audience to head over to our webpage. So if they Google Good Mental Health Festival, it'll take them to the webpage. I'm co-organizing it with Tanya Diggory, who's the founder of Calma. Calma is a training organization here in the UK.
Wow, and that's so important. I think you're absolutely right. We do have some work to do in regards to mental health, but that's important what you're doing, the event, talking about it, keep the conversation going.
Thank you.
And especially now, right now, 2020, there's so much going on with us and everything. So, what would you say to us right now as we kind of been navigating through this pandemic and, social unrest? And a lot of things going on too. What would you say to people? How can we, ease mental stress? How can we remain mentally healthy throughout all this?
Yeah, I just remembered when it was the New Year's Eve, 2020, we thought that it's going to be a promising year. And about like a month after, we already have the pandemic, and it just starting to destroy everything. And just like what you've mentioned, the social unrest. What I do, and hopefully this would also be effective for other people, is that I try to switch off to social media. I used to watch the 6 o'clock news every day. That's kind of my ritual. Every day, every night, I don't miss it. But since with all what's happening, the pandemic, and the social issues, I found it quite, for lack of better word, therapeutic just to switch off. And I try to, how do I say this, filter who I follow on social media. I just find it quite interesting that before, the people that I follow on social media, before they just tweet about psychology, about mental health.
Yes.
And recently there has been a transformation from mental health and to psychology to something political. And my motto in life is just surround yourself with something good, surround yourself with something positive. You don't want to be surrounded with too much negativity and hatred. So that's my key advice. And also, I suppose another thing to bear in mind is just don't take it too seriously. If you take things too seriously, you can see how it panned out in your country and here.
Yes.
Just take it easy. Life is too short. We've only got what, 80, if you're lucky, 90 years to live. And do you want to live with all of those hatred all the time? So that's how I see life. And also I try to focus on what's more important in my life, my family, my husband, spending time together. I always try to look for a bit of escapism. There's a lovely film going on here in Britain, All Creatures, Great and Small. I don't know if you've heard of that. I'm watching it now. I just love old period drama, old English period drama. I'm a big fan of that. So always look for something, some form of escapism. I think that's the key thing.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. That film you mentioned, is that something that we can find on Netflix, or where would we be able to find something like that?
No, it's on a local channel,
Oh,
Channel 5. I could give you the link, and
okay.
it was actually a remake. It ran from, I think, from the 1970s, late 70s to the 90s. I could give you the link. You can find it on YouTube, the full episodes.
Yeah,
Basically, it's about a veterinarian, and just sharing his life in rural Yorkshire. It's kind of heartwarming story. Yeah.
that's great. We'll put links in the description and also to the event you have coming up as well. Put
Yes.
links
Thank
there for you. Let's talk about your book, though. I want to get to your book. You
you.
have the book. Talk about what inspired you to write that book, and what can we kind of expect as readers?
Mhm. So thank you for asking me that. My book is called Let's Talk About Behavior. It's my first book. So basically, I just have a collection of essays, everything about mental health. So it covers a wide range of topic, and I'm not really expecting it to be a bestseller because there's so many better writers than me. But my aim for writing that book is just to add to the stock of understanding and stock of knowledge about mental health, and that's my aim. Yeah, it's available on Amazon. So just Google "Let's Talk About Behavior" and my name, and then you'll find my book.
Well, thank you very much. I'll give you the last words, Dennis. Anything else you'd like to say before we part today?
Okay, so I'd just like to invite all of your listeners to head to my website, www.psychreg.org, and also go to This is Calmer. I'll send you the link so you can put it on the description box. It's an event the day before World Mental Health Day. So we have an incredible speakers. And also, if you want to learn more about mental health, about psychology and well-being, do get a copy of my book. And like I always say, take it easy. We won't going to live forever, so just relax.
That is such great advice. Thank you for sharing your story, Dennis. Thank you for being on the show today, and take care.
Okay, thanks for inviting me.
Wow, what a great conversation, right? See, I told you. Dennis is a fantastic person. As you can see, just unbelievable insight and intellect. And I love talking about mental health because we don't talk about it enough. So thank you, Dennis, for raising the awareness and all that you do in talking about mental health and what you are doing. Thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the episode, guys. I really hope you do. If you did, give me a like. And any comments, any feedback, any questions, please go ahead and comment them. I read every single one and I comment back. So I love doing that. It's all about keeping the conversation going because it doesn't stop. It didn't stop with the books. It didn't stop with my podcast. And it's not going to stop on this show, guys. It's going to keep the conversation going. I need to make sure that I'm shining a light on the positivity, on the inspirational stories that are happening right now in our world. We see way too many negative stories. We need positivity. We need inspiration because we need hope, because we need to come together at the end of the day so we can go forward. And we do that by bringing the best of us out of us in our humanity. There's so many wonderful people out there right now doing amazing things. And I'm sure you are too. So if you know someone, if you are someone who wants to be on the show, email me at josh@hellomynameisjosh.com. Also, that's where you go if you have any questions about me or the show. Feel free to email me, josh@hellomynameisjosh.com. Remember, the main hub is www.hellomynameisjosh.com. Hello, my name is josh.com. Learn more about me, the books, the whole journey. You can learn all about that at that website. It all started with a Table Talks podcast. And here we are today talking with more amazing people through YouTube in this awesome video content. So amazing. I'm so excited about the guests that we've had on so far and so excited about the guests that we have yet to come on to the show. I love introducing you to them and shining a light on what they're doing. One cool, fun thing also, guys, I do have some merch. So Teespring, there's a link in the description, Teespring link. go there, check out my merch. I have a really cool coffee mug. It's a Mindshift coffee mug. I love coffee. If you're a coffee drinker too, check it out. You might like it. You might dig it. Who knows? But I have some merch. So click the link in the description. Check it out. See what you think. And let me know what you think about it too. Had a lot of fun making some designs in there. And it's going to be really cool. So thank you so much. Now, guys, remember, I just want to say a huge thank you. Again, I can't say thank you enough. I know I say it a lot, but I really mean it. Thank you so much for coming along this journey with me. And if you're just discovering me now, stick around with me, come on this journey with us, and let's keep the conversation going together. As always, I thank you so much. And until next time, I'll talk to you later.